Taggart era has officially ended. FSU, the alumni, they said we've had enough. Get this man out of Tallahassee. They have fired Willie Taggart after getting dominated by the Miami Hurricanes. We're not even 24 hours from the domination of that game. They have fired Willie Taggart. And I mean, this isn't a surprise. I mean, a lot of people have been calling for Willie Taggart's job ever since what he did last year. And I mean, after Boise State, people were calling for Willie Taggart's job. So after FSU lost to Miami in the fashion that they did, we knew it was only a matter of time. We knew it was. And I mean, Willie Taggart, man, I mean, I'm pretty sure he did the best job possible. Because, look, Jimbo Fisher did not leave Florida State's program in a good shape once he left the program for Texas A&M. And it would have been hard for any coach to try to turn around what that FSU program was. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure Willie Taggart tried to do the best job possible. But the shape that Jimbo Fisher let that program in, they were going to have to hire a better coach than Willie Taggart. Willie Taggart was not the man for the job in the shape that program was left in. So, I mean, it was a hard task to try to rebuild that FSU program in the shape that it was. But, I mean, it wasn't just from X's and O's standpoint. I heard from a couple of people inside the FSU program that Jimbo Fisher was just allowing players to do whatever they want to, wasn't holding players accountable, and we said it on the field. FSU is undisciplined. The players don't really respect them. And I mean, it was a hard job for Willie Taggart to try to turn around that FSU program, right? So, I mean, FSU, they're going to have to, for this FSU program to return to the state that it was in, the glory days, they're going to have to pay a lot of money to bring in a legit guy. Now, I don't know if that's going to have to be Mario Cristobal from Oregon. I don't know. I don't think FSU will be able to fish Mario Cristobal out of Oregon. Because at the state that Oregon is right now, in the midst of going to the college football, they're in the thick of the college football playoff hunt. I don't know if FSU will be able to fish Mario Cristobal out of Oregon. Especially consider the success that he has right there at that Oregon spot when it comes to recruiting and everything. So I don't think Mario Cristobal is a legit candidate. But and a lot of you guys are going to ask me, no, I'm not watching Steelers game right now, but I know a lot of you guys are going to ask me who should they bring in, and I can't really give you a legit question because I don't think Urban Meyer would take that job. I mean, because look, you got to understand, Jimbo Fisher did not leave that FSU program in a good state. It would have been hard for anybody to try to rebuild that program, not just Willie Taggart. You have to pay top dollar money to bring in a legit head coach that can turn around the FSU program because it is an absolute dumpster fire. So I don't know who they could bring in, but if you guys want me to give you some example, maybe Mark Stoops or Stoops at Kentucky, he would be a good hire. Considering what he did at Kentucky. Look, I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, we don't need no more program rebuilders and things like that. But look, if you're able to win at Kentucky, that 10-win season they had last year, don't talk about what Kentucky did this season, had quarterback problems and things like that. But if you're able to have a 10-win season in the SEC, then I think that makes you a legit head coach, right? Also, maybe they can try to bring in the head coach at Minnesota. The head coach at Minnesota, he's rebuilt that Minnesota program. That Minnesota program is undefeated right now. And despite how the season goes, I would try to bring him in. Because, look, you don't bring in no Power 5 coaches. Don't do nothing. FSU needs to get a guy who has been able to have success in a Power 5 conference. So go ahead, bring in the head coach of Minnesota. I mean, he's good at developing players. It doesn't matter. FSU needs to bring in a top dollar guy. They need to put in a big contract, pay this guy whoever they need to pay this kind of money because they got the money to pay it. The alumni has the money to pay it. They need to bring in an established guy who can legitimate turn around the program. Don't bring in no Power 5 guy, no Group of 5 guy, this and that. You need to bring in an established guy. Pretty much, if FSU had to bring in a group of five coach, then the only group of five coach I would bother bringing in would be UCF's coach. I think his name is Hype or something like that. That's the only group of five coach I will bring in if I'm FSU for UCF. Because UCF is still having success on the offensive side of the ball, and also he can recruit. So, I mean, it's really hard, but if I was FSU, I would be throwing out as much money as Urban Myers wants to come back to bring Urban Meyer here, because that's the kind of caliber coach that FSU has to bring in, and they want to be able to get this program to what it was, because Jimbo Fisher did not leave this program in a good state. And like I said, I'm not going to blame Willie Taggart, because Willie Taggart, this was a hard job for any FSU, for any coach to try to turn around this program. This was not going to be an overnight thing, because Jimbo Fisher did not leave this FSU program in a good state. So it was a really hard task asking any coach to try to turn around this program, but they didn't have the right guy to try to turn around the program. Willie Taggart just did not have what it takes to try to turn around this program. And I don't even think that Willie Taggart is even a good group of five, a good Power 5 coach. Some coaches are just meant to be good group of 5 coaches, and that's just what some coaches are. Like Charlie Strong down there at USF, he was not built to run a Power 5 program. Willie Taggart, he's not built to run a Power 5 program. Some coaches are just only good enough to have success coaching at the group of 5 level. And Willie Taggart, I'm going to keep saying this, but it's just hard to turn around the FSU program considering the state that Jimbo Fisher left it in. So it was a really hard job asking Willie Taggart to try to turn around this FSU program for any coach. So they got to pay top dollar to bring in a guy. You got to throw some money at Mario Cristobal, try to get David Shaw out of Stanford. David Shaw out of Stanford, he's been the most underrated college football coach for a very, very long time. A very, very long time. So you can throw some money at him, try to fish him out of Stanford, because Stanford has put together some good recruiting classes. David Shaw is really, really underrated, right? Really, really underrated. So, I mean, David Shaw at Stanford would be a good hire, because he's able to bring in top 25 recruiting classes. And it's really hard to go. It's really hard. I don't know if you guys understand how hard it is to recruit at Stanford, but every recruit at Stanford has to be academically admitted into the university. So they have to get approved by the university. It's also hard because a lot of players don't want to go to Stanford because of how rigorous of the academics it is at Stanford. Because not only does Stanford hold the football program to a high standard, but also academically. So David Shaw will be a smash mouth hire for FSU. Mario Cristobal, I don't think FSU is going to be able to get Mario Cristobal. I don't think, given the state that this FSU program is in, it's going to be really hard to get a lot of coaches excited about going to FSU. I think FSU might have just as tough of a time as Tennessee might. Now, the only thing that makes FSU attractive right now is because of recruiting. Despite the fact that how bad FSU is right now, they still find ways to put together top 25 recruiting classes. Still find ways. And Florida is probably the best state in college football and recruiting. It's talent everywhere in Florida. So that's probably the only attractive thing that will come to making a head coach want to lead their program and come coach at FSU is because of the recruiting and how many recruits are at their disposal. But Willie Taggart, I mean, this was a very tough job and asking him to turn around this FSU program and anybody, man. So, I mean, FSU beat these guys so bad that it forced them to fire Willie Taggart. And I'm not surprised. We saw it was coming. FSU most likely will not win a bowl game. They probably won't even go to a bowl game. Because I think they have like a couple of games left, and those games don't really look very favorable. And I still think even if they want to make it to a bowl game, they still have to beat Florida regardless. So, I mean, I don't know who they can bring in. I don't even know who would accept the job. Mike Leach? I think Mike Leach, man. Mike Leach. I think Mike Leach would take that FSU job. Mike Leach will take that FSU job. I think that's how bad the FSU program is right now. The only thing attractive is recruiting. Despite how bad FSU is, they still bring in a top 25 recruiting class. Willie Taggart was still able to recruit. So Mike Leach at FSU would be really interesting. But FSU, they want to get their program back to what it was. They're gonna have to pay top dollar to bring in a top guy. You cannot bring in don't bring in no group of five guy. Don't bring in no good group of five guy. You can't be cheap. You cannot be cheap. You need to go ahead. You need to bring in an established guy. You need to throw somebody that Martin Christian ball. Even though I strongly doubt he will leave Oregon for FSU, given the state that FSU program is in. I don't think he'll leave Oregon. I don't think Martin Christian ball is leaving Oregon. Maybe you try to get Urban Meyer. I don't know. Maybe Urban Meyer will take it. I don't know. But I mean, you gotta have an established head coach. I think Mike Leach would take the FSU job. David Shaw at Stanford. Try to get David Shaw. David Shaw, I think he'll leave Stanford. Stanford isn't even having that good. I know Stanford isn't having a good season, but I don't know if you guys know how hard it is to coach at Stanford. Especially when it comes to recruiting, because a lot of the recruits that Stanford gets has to be approved academically into the university. So David Shaw would be a good hire. But I think a good hire, the best hire possible, would be Mike Leach, and Mike Leach becomes the head coach of Florida State. The Florida State could be really, really interesting. A lot of people love Mike Leach. A lot of players love Mike Leach. A lot of players hate Mike Leach because of how outspoken Mike Leach is. But most of the players, I have friends that play for Washington State. They love Mike Leach. I have 4 friends that play college football for Washington State right now, and they love Mike Leach. They absolutely love Mike Leach. So if Mike Leach is able to come to Florida State, then I think that would be a good hire. And there's also room that Mike Leach won the Tennessee job. He was one of the few coaches where Tennessee was struggling to find coaches because nobody wanted to coach at Tennessee. Mike Leach was one of the only coaches who wanted to coach at Tennessee. He wanted the Tennessee job. He wanted to coach at Tennessee. And that Tennessee program was in a really, really bad state. I don't know whose program was worse, Tennessee a couple of years ago or FSU. It's just as bad. But the bonus of taking the FSU job is you can recruit. There's a lot of talent inside of Florida. So whoever's going to be the head coach of Florida State, they're going to have a good job. They're going to have a good group of recruiting. You also got Georgia that's a pipeline as well. You can also branch out to other states as well. But despite how bad FSU is, they're still going to get some of the top-notch guys out of Florida. You're still going to get some of those 5-stars, those 4-star guys out of Miami. You're going to get a couple of 5-star, 4-star guys out of Florida, despite how bad the program is, right? So Mike Leach, I think Mike Leach will be an ideal candidate for FSU. I think he would probably be the best candidate because I can name a bunch of coaches who FSU could target. But I don't think a lot of coaches will want to coach and take that FSU job, given the state that it is. And I don't even think the money will even force a coach to want to leave because of how bad of a state that FSU program is. Because it was asking Willie Taggart to turn around that FSU program was very hard for any coach. So FSU, they can't be cheap. You got to go ahead and you need to get you a coach that has a good resume, that has proven to win. So go ahead and get you a guy like Mike Leach. Go ahead and get you a Stoops at Kentucky. I don't think Stoops will leave Kentucky. But Stoops, I don't care. A 10 win, if you're able to win 10 wins, if you're able to get 10 wins in the SEC, you're a legit coach. You're a legit coach. Stoops at Kentucky could be an ideal hire. I don't think he'll leave Kentucky because he's having a lot of success at Kentucky despite them being down. Maybe James Franklin, no, listen, man. I don't think James Franklin would not leave Penn State for FSU. It's very hard to find. Listen, did you see how hard it was for Tennessee to find a head coach? It's going to be extremely hard for FSU to find a legit established head coach that wants to leave their program to come coach at FSU. I don't think Urban Meyer wants to take that job at FSU. But because look, Urban Meyer, I think it's either USC or bust. If USC isn't throwing out, if USC doesn't want Urban Meyer, I don't think Urban Meyer takes another job. I don't think he'll want to coach at FSU because not only it's just a cultural thing with FSU. Jimbo Fisher, I know FSU alumni. FSU alumni that have said Jimbo Fisher didn't just lead the program from a bad state, from an X's and O's standpoint, in terms of recruit when it came to the offensive line, but the mentality. He let players do whatever he wanted. All Jimbo Fisher did was care about winning. That's all he did. He only cared about winning. A lot of players during FSU's national championship run should have not been playing. They should have been suspended. Jimbo Fisher only cared about winning. That's the only thing. He didn't care about the culture and things like that. That's why we see FSU having so many unsportsmanlike conduct penalties and things like that. So not only whoever gets hired, the coach at FSU has to change the program and improve the offensive line, but you have to improve the culture of a program. And I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but it takes a while to establish a certain culture and certain discipline inside of a college football program. This isn't the NFL. When you hire a coach, you be like, hey, it's my way or the highway. You have 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids that have been allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. So, I mean, it's going to be very hard to change around this FSU program. And this FSU job looks very unattractive for most coaches. The only thing that's attractive about FSU is recruiting. It's very easy to recruit if you're at Florida State. Because look at all the guys. Because despite the fact that Willie Taggart got fired, FSU is still going to have a top 25 recruiting class. Despite they fired Willie Taggart, they still have a top 25 recruiting class. And there's a lot of talent inside of Florida. But the thing is, who would want to take the FSU job, given the state of the program? I don't know, man. I really don't know. Bob Stoops, I don't know. Bob Stoops is in the XFL right now. So I don't know if he'll... I don't even know if he'll want to take over FSU. FSU has the time. Man, listen, FSU's offensive line is a problem. It's not just... Here's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's not just X's and O's. It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. So whoever they bring in has to be able to change the culture of that program quickly and fast. And I think Mike Leach is the best coach for FSU. Players love Mike Leach. I have friends that play for Washington State right now that absolutely love Mike Leach. A lot of people think that a lot of people wouldn't hire Mike Leach because of his personality and his non-bias. FSU tells it how, Mike Leach tells it how it is. If you suck, he's going to tell you that you suck. But most of the players I talked to love Mike Leach. I never heard a player that I've been friends with say that they don't like Mike Leach. He's a player's coach. Players love playing for Mike Leach despite how outspoken he is. I think Mike Leach will be the most realistic candidate for FSU. I think that'd probably be the only elite head coach that they could get to leave the program and come coach at FSU. Because Mike Leach wanted the Tennessee job. He really, really wanted the Tennessee job. But he didn't get it. And he was kind of hurt. So, I mean, I think that the best hire would be Mike Leach. Mike Leach would be a great hire for FSU. I think Mike Leach right now has to be number one on FSU's coaching candidates right now. Don't mess this up trying to get a group of 5 guy. Listen, if you want to win, you need to throw out money to be elite. You got to throw out money. If you want an elite head coach, if you want to return the FSU back to the glory days and his championship dominance, you got to throw some money out there. I think Mike Leach is the best coaching candidate and the best coaching hire for FSU given the state of the program. He wanted this is a guy who wanted the Tennessee job. Many will argue that Tennessee is in a worse state than FSU a couple of years ago. It was absolutely terrible. And Tennessee can recruit. And coaches didn't even want to go to Tennessee. And Tennessee is able to consistently have top 25 recruiting classes. So I think Mike Leach has to be the number one candidate right now. I think he wants to leave Washington State. Listen, Washington State is an okay program and things like that. But some programs, despite the head coach, has to repeat. Terrible fire. They stopped listening to fans. Jimbo left them in a hellhole. He only had one real recruiter. Listen, man. Listen, Willie Taggart wasn't the right guy, man. I agree they shouldn't have fired him this early, but I think they have to get. I think probably the only realistic shot they have of a good coach, a league head coach who would want to leave is Mike Leach. It has to be Mike Leach. I think Mike Leach will probably be the only coach who will be willing to leave his current program and coach at FSU. Cause this FSU program is so Jeremy Pruitt. Man, I don't think FSU needs to bring in the. I don't think Jeremy Pruitt would be. They listen. FSU cannot waste time. Don't bring in no lane. I just said don't get no group of 5 guys. Don't get no group of 5 guys. I just said you need a Lane Kiffin. We saw with Lane. Lane Kiffin is a. And you don't get Lane Kiffin, man. It either has to be Mario Cristobal, which I think is unrealistic because I don't think he'll leave Oregon. It has to be Mike Leach. Mike Leach coaches at Washington State. Washington State has been a top 30 program for most of the time. No Lane Kiffin. It has to be an established elite head coach. Lane Kiffin is not an elite head coach. It has to be Mike Leach. Mike Leach is probably the only elite head coach that would be willing to leave. And then Stoops at Kentucky, I don't know. Then you also got the Minnesota head coach, the Baylor head coach, Baylor's head coach, what he's been able to do. A lot of people forget that Baylor head coach, what he's turned around that Baylor program. It took him a long time, given the sanctions and everything Baylor had to go through. The Baylor head coach would be another good candidate, but I don't think you need to mess around and try to hire any group of 5 guys. The only group of 5 head coach I would hire would be Hupel, I think that's his name is. Josh Heupel, I don't know how to pronounce his name right, but the UCF head coach right now would be the only group of 5 coach that I would personally hire to be the head coach at FSU. That's the only group of 5 coach I would hire, and I would even make him number 1. FSU's number 1 priority right now has to be Mike Leach. You hire Mike Leach right now, Mike Leach becomes the second best coach in the ACC automatically. Automatically, he becomes the second best coach in the ACC. Mike Leach has to be the number 1 candidate on FSU's head coaching carousel right now. It has to be. They don't need to hire no offensive coordinator. They need to throw some money out there and get Mike Leach. I think Mike Leach is the only elite head coach that will leave the current state of the program to come coach at FSU. Mike Leach, you serious? What you think Mike Leach is not a good coach? What? Mike Leach is a great head coach. What? Mike Leach? You FSU fans don't want Mike Leach? Mike Leach. What has he won? It doesn't matter. This guy has had success at Washington State. He's had success at Washington State. Players love playing for Mike Leach. You FSU fans act like you guys got options. Nobody wants to coach at FSU. No elite head coach wants to coach at FSU right now. Nobody. Urban Myers doesn't want to coach at FSU. The only way Urban Myers comes out retiring is if the USC job is available. Other than that, you're not getting an Urban Meyer. You're not going to get an elite head coach that wants to leave the program to come coach at FSU. I don't think Stoops at Kentucky would want to leave there. I don't think Mario Cristobal would want to leave there. You guys are talking about Mike Leach like he's a bad coach. Listen, if you get Mike Leach, that's a big time hire. David Shaw at Stanford, I try to target him. I mean, when you look at what so you want to coach because he's had success at Washington State, so being somewhat competitive in the weakest Power 5 conference. Mike Leach has had success not just only in the Pac-12, but he's had success in the Big 12 as well. Mike Leach is a Hall of Famer. Mike Leach is a Hall of Fame coach. Mike Leach is an elite head coach. I I don't know what you FSU fans are expecting, but Mike Leach is probably the best coach available that would want to go and coach that garbage of a program that you call Florida State football, given the state that it is right now. Don't give me that Mike Leach is 1-4 right now. That isn't a good team. Washington State does not have a good team right now, and I don't think Washington State is 1-4 right now. Mike Leach is not no winner. I don't think Mike Leach is 1-4 right now. I don't think why I don't. Mike Leach is not 1-4 right now. What? Washington State's 1-4. And Washington State's 1-4 gives him all the reason why he wants to leave Washington State. Let's see. Washington State football. Bobby Petrino, you want to get one of the most hated coaches in all of college football to come coach? Are you serious? Bobby Petrino? No, listen. Mike Leach would be the best hire FSU could get right now. Stop looking at Washington State's record. Look at what Mike Leach has did year after year in at Washington State. Mike Gundy. I don't know. Mike Gundy has stolen Oklahoma State for a very long time. But it doesn't matter. Stop looking at Washington State's record. Mike Leach, what he did for that Washington State program, let me ask you something. Before Mike Leach got there, who knew? I did not know what Washington State was before Mike Leach became head coach of Washington State. Mike Leach turned around that football program. Nobody knew who Washington State was before Mike Leach became the head coach there, other than having one of the biggest busts at all time as a quarterback going into the NFL. So, I mean, you need to look at what Mike Leach has did over his tenure there at Washington State. Mike Leach has to be the #1 candidate on FSU's head coaching board right now. He's probably the only elite head coach that would bother to leave that would bother to lead the program and coach that dumpster fire that is FSU. Mike Leach would be a great head coaching hire. A great head coaching hire. Willie got fired. Let me ask you something. I don't think you guys are understanding what Mike Leach has did. Where did Willie Taggart didn't win anything? He was a group of 5 coach. This is a guy in Mike Leach who has won conference championships, that has had success, that has won at Power 5 conferences. Turned around Texas Tech. He's turned around Washington State. He's one of the best coaches in college football. So the fact you guys are saying Mike Leach is the same as Willie Taggart, I think that's really disrespectful. Mike Leach is a future Hall of Famer. You guys understand that, right? Mike Leach is a future Hall of Famer. If he retires right now, he's going to the Hall of Fame. What has he done? Wow. I cannot believe you guys are really going to disrespect Mike Leach like this. Oh my goodness, you guys are really disrespecting Mike Leach. You guys are really disrespecting Mike Leach. Oh my goodness. You guys are really disrespecting Mike Leach. He's done nothing. Mike Leach is one of the best college football coaches coaching right now. Nobody would want to lead the program to come coach at FSU. FSU is a dumpster fire right now. Mike Leach is 137 wins and only 87 losses, and has won 61% of his games. So what? So you tell me something. He's won 61% of his games, coaching at Power 5 conferences. You don't think he would be a good hire for FSU, given that nobody... So you tell me one coach right now that would want to leave their program to come coach at FSU, given FSU stay of their program. Give me a better head coach right now that would want to... That's better than Mike Leach that would want to coach at FSU. Nobody wants to coach at that crap. FSU is trash. The program is abysmal. Okay? Nobody wants to coach at FSU. Nobody. You want to get Mark Rick? You want to get Mark Rick? You want to get Mark Rick? Mark Rick? You gotta be joking. Mark Rick? You talk about Mike Leach? What has Mark Rick ever won at Georgia? What has Mike Leach won at Miami? You FSU fans ain't trying to win nothing. You guys are not trying to win nothing. So you bash me giving out Mike Leach as a hire, right? I didn't know, Nick Tunes. I did not say that. I'm trying to say no other elite coach other than Mike Leach, who's regarded as elite, would want to leave their program to come coach at garbage behind FSU. And that's just being real. Mike Leach is the only elite head coach that will leave their program to come coach at FSU. Give me an elite head coach that would want to leave their program right now, the coach at FSU in a heartbeat, other than Mike Leach. You give me one. Mike Gundy ain't gonna leave Oklahoma State for no Mike Leach. Oh, for no FSU. Mike Leach is the only elite head coach. Bro, stop saying Mark Rick. But why would he leave Washington State? Because he what, bro? What? I don't know. Mike Leach wanted to take the Tennessee job. Mike Leach wanted the Tennessee job. He wanted it. So I don't know why. Pretty much because you can't listen. What some programs have their peak, right? Some programs will never have top 25 recruiting classes. Some programs will never have top 10 recruiting classes. Some programs will never reach that. Some programs have certain peaks like Duke. Duke's peak is 10 wins. Duke will never win the ACC championship. Duke will never go to the college football championship. Washington State has a peak. Washington State's peak is Rose Bowl. Mike Leach is trash. Mike Leach is probably the best coach right now that FSU could get right now. Let's see. So Mike Leach, I think Mike Leach would be a good hire right now. You want to win championships with a Mike Leach offense. Facts. You could win a championship for Mike Leach offense. What? Are you serious? Do you not know how many teams are going to the air raid offense? What has LSU been right now? Air raid. Where's Alabama? Because he hasn't had the program that brings in recruits. No top five. What five-star recruits want to play at Texas Tech? What five-star recruits want to play at Washington State? If he goes to FSU, he would be a great fit, not only because they bring in recruits, because they bring in several talent, and he's in a hotbed of recruiting. You're not going to bring in no five-star recruits coaching at Washington State and playing at Texas Tech. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. What five-star, four-stars want to play for a Texas Tech or Washington State? Versus if he goes to FSU, you got four-star guys who still want to play for FSU regardless of how terrible they are. So come on, man. Mike Leach won the Texas job. Mike Leach has not had a top 25 recruiting class in several years, right? If Mike Leach goes to FSU, he'll get the time that he's never ever had, right? Never ever had. So he'll have recruiting. He'll be able to bring in top 10 recruiting classes, and the coaches like playing for him. What four-star, five-star at? Jeff Sims is a four-star quarterback right now. He's still committed. Let's see at the recruiting ranks right now. Florida State, 24/7 recruiting, right? Let's see. So Florida State right now, despite the fact that they are garbage right now, ranks is it gonna pop up? You tell me I have to pay to see the recruiting rankings? Are you serious? Are you serious? Bro, I don't. Oh my God, man. 24/7 recruiting rankings. Cause I know FSU. Last time I checked, FSU was top 25 recruiting. Mike Leach would be a good hire for FSU right now. Cause name me one good head coach that would be a better hire right now than Mike Leach. That would want to coach at FSU. Is FSU even top 25 recruiting? Bro, why keep showing up coaches? Let's see. I can't see the recruiting rankings for some reason. I can't see the recruiting rankings. I can't see the recruiting rankings for some reason. I cannot see the recruiting rankings for some reason. So you'll take Minnesota. I said Minnesota's head coach was a good candidate. Raphael, you do not. I have friends that play for Washington State, and they have had nothing but good things to say about Mike Leach. They love playing for Mike Leach. I'm not saying this because I know nothing about football. I'm saying this because I have 3 friends that I play high school football with, that went to my high school, that I'm close friends with, that play for Mike Leach and love Mike Leach as a head coach. Love Mike Leach. I'm not talking out my behind. I have friends that play for Washington State that play under Mike Leach that love Mike Leach. I'm not talking out my behind or some junk. If I wasn't confident in something, then I wouldn't say it. I have friends that love playing for Washington State. And the thing is, Mike Leach has never been at a school that has been able to bring in 5-star, 4-star guys. Texas Tech isn't bringing in no 5. Texas Tech, you have to compete with Texas every year. Texas gets all the 5-star recruits. TCU gets the 4-stars and things like that, right? So Mike Leach also goes to coaches at Washington State. What 5-star recruits want to play at Washington State? Tennessee wanted. He wanted to coach at Tennessee. He should have been a head coach at Tennessee. But the AD did some stupid crap. He would have been a head coach right here. He would have been a head coach at Tennessee. But the athletic director was tripping. And I mean, why does FSU, why wouldn't FSU need to bring in a Mike Leach? Mike Leach is a better head coach than Willie Taggart. Come on, man. A lot of people wanted Mike Leach to be their head coach. A lot of people. A lot of teams wanted Mike Leach to be their head coach. Florida State right now is 16th in the nation in recruiting. They have 10 4-stars right now, and they have 9 3-stars on the roster, and they're 19th in recruiting right now. And you telling me Mike Leach, who has never ever been able to be in a recruiting hotbed right now in Florida, would not succeed at Florida State? Surrounded by nothing but talent, he's going to get top 10 recruiting. He's going to get a top 25 recruiting class, and he's not going to be coaching at Texas Tech or Washington State. Most players don't even know what a Texas Tech or Washington State is. But Mike Leach, pro-style offenses are not winning championships. When's the last time a team that ran a pro-style offense won a national championship? He's not playing. He's for Washington State. He's not bringing in no 5-stars, no 4-stars. You guys want Stoops, but Stoops isn't bringing in no 4-stars or no 5-star guys, right? Bama is a spread offense now. I don't know if you've been watching, but Bama has been more spread oriented than they have been pro style. That was you guys were back in 2013 when Clemson won the national championship last year. What did they run? Spread, right? When Alabama won the national championship with Tua, right? They changed their offense. That was with Jalen Hurts as quarterback. They had to change their offense. That was 2013. 2013. The last college football championship winners have ran spread offenses. Clemson with Deshaun Watson, spread offense. Alabama with Tua, spread offense. Clemson, Dabo Swinney, spread offense. Urban Meyer with Ohio State, spread offense. Come on, man. Spread offense is running college football right now. Teams don't give a crap about running the football. They want the quarterback who can throw the ball inside the offense that gets a lot of points. LSU was a pro-style offense last year. And he plays in a spread offense. UGA is not winning the national championship. They're not. Pro-style offenses had took over college football over the last season. I don't know if you guys been watching, but a lot of teams that traditionally run a pro-style offense have been converting to a spread offense. LSU last year was a pro-style offense. Now they're going spread offense. You're trying to tell me the air raid offense does not work? Lincoln Riley came under the Mike Leach coaching tree. Air raid hasn't won a damn thing. Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley, who comes from the Mike Leach coaching tree at Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley, learn from Mike Leach. His offense is a different version. Man, listen, man. That's not the point. The point is, what is going to get FSU back to competing for ACC championships? Mike Leach. Mike Leach. You guys can debate me all you want to and things like that, but I just gave you 5 programs who have won national championships. That I did. Clemson won the national championship last year, running the spread offense. I'm done.